Hi, it's Stacy at Wayside Garage in Seaside, California. And one of the things that we do here at Wayside is we are digital. So we perform a digital vehicle health inspection on every vehicle. We do have 3 different levels. We have a complimentary, we have a comprehensive, which the comprehensive is going to include a complete brake inspection with measurements. And we also have a complete, which the complete is going to do all of the complimentary along with the comprehensive, and it allows us to scan the computer for codes, do an alignment quick check, also check and verify the air conditioning operations. I'm going to actually have Jacob go over an inspection so that you can see what they look like. This is Jacob.
Hi.
And we're going to show you what the
This is a complete inspection that we did for a 2014 Dodge Charger. It's got about 130,000 miles. We went through and did our complete inspection, which is going to include the brake inspection, all fluids, filters, checking the tires. We even go through, check the alignment. This is the brake inspection portion. We do accompany all inspections with pictures. This specific vehicle is going to be due for a brake service front and rear. That is something that we are actually getting taken care of here. The work on here is all the services that we are performing on the vehicle. And then down here is going to be the rest of the inspection. We have 3 different sections in here. So there's the green for good, the red, which is the required repair, and then the 12, which is going to be suggested. These will be more mileage items, but they are still going to be important on the vehicle. As you can see on here, these are all the good items. The brake fluid did test good, but because we are doing the brakes on the vehicle, we do have to bleed the brakes, get all the air out of the system, so we are going to be performing that service. We do check-in and drop-off pictures to make sure that the vehicle is looking the same way that it came in. We check the air conditioning on every vehicle. This one's at 36 degrees, so it's nice and cool. And then we also go through and check out all of the tires around the vehicle, which with this one, the tires are all looking good. They're wearing pretty even. We went through the rest of the signals, the different lights, the washer fluids, radiator, made sure that everything else is in good condition. This is the red required section. Wiper blades are going to be on here because we want to make sure that you can clean off your windshield. We want to make sure that you can see while you're driving. The marker light is out, so we want to pinpoint that. That's a big one, as you can get a ticket for having a light out. And then down in the other picture, this is the radiator hoses. It's a little tricky to see, but this is some dried coolant from a previous leak or an active leak. So this is what we were able to determine within that inspection. And then the air filter. So this guy is getting pretty dirty. It's a little hard to tell maybe in the video, but there's a good amount of dust and debris in the yellow section. These are going to be some other items that we noticed in the chassis section while driving it. Our technician did notice that there's a noise coming from that front suspension, and then there's some type of noise from the rear also. And then the alignment, this is an item that is suggested once a year so that your tires are going to wear as even as possible, and we want to make sure that the vehicle is always driving straight. The cabin air filter is an item that is suggested to be replaced about every year or 10,000 miles unless it is dirty prematurely. And this is where we go through and check out all the fluids. Right here on this picture is a sample of the engine oil, which as you can see is getting pretty dark and dirty. This guy is actually due for the oil service also. And then this is going to be the coolant. So we always check out the reservoir, and then we'll take a sample of the fluid, and we're able to see the freezing and boiling point as to make sure that it is working properly. The transmission fluid is an item that is suggested about every 30,000 miles or 3 years. We want to make sure that transmission stays healthy, stays good, and spending a couple $100s on a transmission service is a whole lot better than spending $5,000+ on a brand new transmission. Going down a little bit more, another fluid is the power steering fluid. This one is suggested, same thing, about every 30,000 miles or 3 years. This is going to be the serpentine belt. We always make sure to take a look at these to see how they're wearing, if they're cracking, if they start to glaze as they get worn. With this one, it's never been done on the vehicle, and it's about 100,000 miles. The serpentine belt, it's such an important item because if that belt breaks, what can happen is you can lose power, you can lose your air conditioning, you can actually bind it up and cause a lot more issues in the engine. So we want to make sure to catch that. That's suggested to be done about every 5 years or 60,000 miles, whichever comes first. That way we can make sure that it's going to be worn and taken care of properly. Down a little bit lower, shocks and struts on a vehicle. It's something that not a lot of people think about, but with shocks and struts, as you drive down the road, they are constantly going up and down, having the weight of the vehicle and then also the weight of anything you put in that vehicle. As they start to wear down, they can actually wear the other suspension components. They can unevenly wear the tires and make your brakes wear out faster. With shocks and struts, they're definitely an item that you want to change about every 7 years or 70,000 miles to make sure that you're not going to have to spend that extra money on different items you don't need to. Going down a little bit more, these are the front control arm bushings. As you can see, they're starting to crack and tear. This is an item that could have actually been caused from the shocks and struts being worn and the vehicle still driving, but also it is just a rubber bushing, so they are going to be worn just from age, from the heat and then cold and just normal daily conditions. Down in the exhaust system with oxygen sensors. So oxygen sensors are part of the emissions system. They go before the catalytic converter and then typically after also. The front one will typically be an air-fuel ratio sensor that will be able to tell the distinction between the actual air-fuel mixture to make sure that the vehicle is running right, it's up to emission standards, and as your oxygen sensors start to wear out, you can't even notice that you have worse fuel economy, the vehicle may be a little more sluggish, it's not running as good. With those oxygen sensors, they start to kind of wear down due to that excessive heat, typically between every 30 and 50,000 miles. They can always go longer, but you will start to notice your miles per gallon will decrease, so that is another maintenance item that not a lot of people think about, but we want to make sure you know the potential causes of what could be happening in a vehicle. Last but not least, this is the rear differential on the vehicle. As you can see, it's not leaking, it's not damaged, which is good, but there is a fluid in there that does need to be changed every 30,000 miles or 3 years. So we want to make sure to get that cycled so you won't have any issues with that differential. And that overall is our full digital.
So if you're ready to get your vehicle in and have it serviced and would like to have a vehicle health check, give us a call at 831-899-2425. My service advisors here, Jacob or Brandon, will get you in and we'll have one of our ASE certified technicians get the inspection done. This inspection is visit specific, so you will actually have access to this for as long as you need. Or schedule online at www.waysidegarage.com. We're happy to make sure that you get the best and the most out of your vehicle.